But really, macroeconomics is about stocks, real estate, bonds, derivatives, and all that stuff. So it's knowing the whole spectrum. And the average person, thinks their house is an asset. So about 25 years ago, I was almost hung out to dry as a heretic for saying your house is not an asset, savers are losers, and the rich don't work for money. Real estate is a very important asset class. So a lot of people think, well, I have stocks, I have bonds, I have mutual funds, well, they're just assets. But real estate is, to me, the single most important asset class to study because it is a tricky subject. And especially today, since I just was watching CNBC, Bubble Vision, and they finally acknowledge that Zillow has a 7,000 property problem because they flip property. And naturally, I tax, and I don't flip property. I hold property forever. I collect rent forever, and I pay no taxes. So if you like paying taxes, then, don't invest in real estate. If you like paying taxes, have a 401k, biggest ripoff I've ever seen. But so that's why real estate as an asset class in the macro picture globally is the single most important subject, but also the most complex. And the reason it's complex is if you buy, let's say, Apple stock, and you make a mistake, you'll say you buy Apple at what's it, Tesla at $1,000 or something. You buy Tesla at $1,000 and it starts to crash, you can get out tonight. But you buy a piece of real estate, you can't get out. So in financial literacy, which most school teachers have no idea what that means, the word is called liquidity. And the reason real estate needs to be studied more than any other subject, other than entrepreneurship, is liquidity. You start a business, you can't get out if you make a mistake. Piece of real estate, you can't get out. 7,000 flips that flopped. In my opinion, I was at a party the other night. There's they're all Vietnamese people. They do nail bars, and so they have a big business in nails. So there was a huge party and all this stuff. I'm there, and this young couple comes up to me, and they start dropping jargon all over me. We got this half acre, and the cap rate is this, and I have no idea what they're talking about. It was like they're looking for a blessing from Jesus, me, And I said, how would I know if it's a good property or not? Well, the cap rate says, and this. I didn't know how to tell them you're idiots. I did my best because they're probably about 40 years old, this is their big thing. They're going to put up this. And I said, Jesus Christ, you're at the top of a market. You're at the top of a market. But they said exactly as they said, well, real estate always goes up. And they forget there was a thing called 2008 when it came down. So there's four basic asset classes. One is a business, and the richest guys on earth start businesses. And then you have entrepreneurship, you have real estate, then you have paper, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, savings, and then you have commodities, oil, gas, silver, and Bitcoin. And so that's how I rank. That's how I was trained classically by my rich dad. He says there's 4 asset classes. The most powerful one is, can you start a business that goes international? Can you start a brand, which Rich Dad is an international brand? But real estate plays an important role on it because that's where I put my money. I lever it up. So I make $1 million at Rich Dad. I borrow $4 million from the banks to create a $5 million asset, depreciate. And that's the game. The trouble is most people want to flip the property, which is fine. But why would you flip why jump out of a plane when a perfectly good plane that's flying? I was a pilot, and we had to wear parachutes. And one day I had a chance to jump out of my plane because my engine quit. But I decided, it's a decision. Do I jump out of this plane? And is this over the swamps of Florida, or do I land it? So I just coasted that thing into Bruton Base at Alabama. But why would you jump out of a plane intentionally? You have a good piece of real estate, hang on to it for forever. That's my philosophy, okay? Every time I talk to these people, I want to choke them, because they're so blinded by money and easy flipping and all this. And I said, you should wait for the crash. That's what I said to this Vietnamese couple. I just wait for the crash. Like if Neiman Marcus say they're going to raise their prices, I don't go in there. But if Neiman Marcus has a sale, I'll go shopping. I mean, it's not that hard, but you got to know what you're looking for. That's kind of my attitude on everything. Buy low, never sell. Finance, don't pay taxes. The Fed and the Treasury are Marxist. You see, in a true capitalist society, there's an economist named Schumpeter says capitalism is failure. You know, the capitalist is supposed to wipe out the inefficient. So like you think about, what was that, when I was not too long ago, there was Blockbuster Video, and my goofy friend wanted me to invest in Blockbuster video stores. And thank God I didn't, because what came along was Netflix. You know, it just blew them out of the water. That's capitalism.
Yeah.
But what happened is when these banks loan money to idiots, instead of letting them crash so that real investors could go back in and clean it up, it was too big to fail. And that's why we're in serious financial trouble today. There's a time to flip and a time not to. I never flip. I buy, hold forever. And my wife and I, our plan is we're going to put all the property into a trust, and that trust will go on into perpetuity, long after we're gone, to provide income or charities, you know, that support freedom. But when we come back, we're going to be talking more about real estate. And remember, the biggest problem today is the Fed and the Treasury and this guy Biden, let's go Brandon, are communists. They should have let the banks fail, but they didn't. And so today we're sitting on a bubble. I have never seen this so big. It's going to make 2008 look like a drop in the bucket. Set the warning out there, and the bigger opportunities are coming, but we have to wait, in my opinion, until after this thing passes. This too big to fail. They should have let them fail. They all have this idea, I'm just going to buy real estate and I'm going to get rich. Like, I'll invest in Bitcoin, I'll get rich, and I'll start an Amazon and get rich. But they don't realize there's a lot to know. And it's especially with real estate. So let me say this much. In macro, there's 4 different asset classes. Number one is a business. So I set out to build a business which is a brand. Like Warren Buffett only invests in brands like Coca-Cola. So Rich Dad became a brand. But to keep my money, I had to have real estate. So let's say I make $1 million at Rich Dad. I go into real estate, I borrow $4 million. And then guys like Dave Ramsey are saying, get out of debt. I said, well, it's good for you, Dave, but it doesn't work for me because I hate paying taxes and I like making money. So then the third asset class, which is stocks, bonds, paper, mutual funds, savings. I don't touch that stuff. And number 5 are gold, silver, Bitcoin. And because that's where I store my value. So when I need money, I use debt. And the reason bigger pockets is because when you use debt, that is frickin' dangerous. You know, I was just in Dallas 3 days ago with my partner in real estate, Kenny McElroy, who's probably the smartest guy I know. And he stood up there on stage with me. I said, Kenny, how much money have you borrowed this half a year so far? $300 million. He sucked the air out of the room. Do you know what I mean? I said, well, why did you borrow $300 million? So number one, we like to make money and we don't want to pay taxes. To me, that's smart. The worst property I ever saw Kenny buy was in San Antonio, Texas. I mean, this place was so bad, I still shudder when I walked into it. I couldn't believe the tenants would trash it that bad. And it wasn't the tenant, it was the owner. He just didn't take care of the place. And we walked into this first unit, and there was a toilet sitting in front of the fireplace. And then, of course, all the walls are open. They stripped out all the copper and electrical wires. I mean, they just destroyed this place. And Kenny thought it was the best investment of all. I said, why is that? He says, because it's right next to a hospital. Do you know what I mean? He says, and hospitals will be around for a couple more years. Shopping centers might not be, but hospitals will. So those are the things that make people rich, but you know, sometimes you just don't understand it until you're talking to somebody like Kenny or like you guys as to what really makes real estate a great investment. This is the most important thing because, like I said, I was really an asshole the other night. This young couple, you know, Vietnamese, and they were throwing all the jargon. Like I said, they read some books about, I mean, I don't even use those terms. They had cap rate this and that, and they were throwing all these numbers out. I want to see the property. Do you know what I mean? I got to go kick the tires, look at it. That's what real estate is, not so much the numbers, but location, who's nearby it, you know, where the jobs come from and all this. But they were trying to just razzle dazzle me, and finally I almost lost it. You know, I just said, well, good luck. I won't touch property right now because I think we're at the top. And then this morning, Zillow falters on 7,000 units. And to me, this is deja vu all over again. This is 2008. The subprime mortgage crisis, which was really a repo market crisis. But this one is going to be longer and deeper, in my opinion, because they didn't fix the problem in 2008. They made the problem bigger by letting those criminal banks stay open when they should have folded them.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.